that don't know me, I am Paul Sharp. And he wasn't lying. It's the truth. And so I've done a lot of different things. I've been involved in law enforcement for about 17 years. During that time, I've worked a variety of assignments and had some very rewarding experiences, had some very terrifying experiences, and all those things have come together to kind of form where I'm at now. All right, so one of the things I want to talk about with you guys today, since Matt's idea, which I think is kind of cool, is we always do, you know, jits, we always do clinch, we always do ground stuff, but let's also look at, you know, in a complete approach to the being a martial artist or an adept, which would be that I also would master the self-defense side without devolving into the I'm going to eye jab this guy, or I'm just going to kick him in the junk, or pull my gun, or whatever it might be. But we're going to look at a realistic approach to how to handle things. And most of our interactions are going to begin with what? How do most of our interactions begin? If I was going to approach you, what was that?
Verbal.
Verbal. Perfect. So I am going to want to address somebody verbally. If I'm going to try to roll you, I'm not just going to try to, like, you know, like Pink Panther, like, you can't see me. You know, what's the best way to do it? I want to try to talk to you a little bit, get some rapport, and then have my buddy jack you in the side of the head. That's pretty much how it's going to go down. Okay? So what's the best way to handle that? So can you come up here and help me out, man? Do you mind? What's your name?
Mo.
Mo? Come on up, Mo. I'll be there. All right, so here we go. So, right? All right, so if Mo's walking down the street and I'm a bad guy who, so let me preface it by this. Let's not jump too far ahead. Let me preface it by this. First things first, this material I got from a guy named Craig Douglas. All right, so if you want to learn more about him, you go to shipworks.com, look up his stuff. He was an undercover for about 20 years, a phenomenal undercover, so much so that he bought dope off corrupt cops in New Orleans. Which, if you can imagine a terrifying experience, that would be one. Because what if this guy figures out who I am? Or knows somebody who knows somebody who went to the academy with me, right? That's a legit concern. So he's able to juke guys who knew what was up. So he kind of codified all this stuff and put it together. And he calls it MUC, which stands for Managing Unknown Contacts. Because if Mo doesn't know who I am, I'm just some dude on the street and I'm approaching him, and I'm trying to like talk to him, and I'm doing all kinds of things that are kind of setting off his radar. He needs to have a way to handle me, right? That doesn't involve caving my face in right off the get-go. Because it could be I'm a harmless panhandler, or it could be I'm trying to get his attention on me so that my buddy Matt can clobber him. All right? So let's go through a few exercises. So let me ask you this, Mo. If you wanted me to stay away from you, how would you get me to stay away? If I'm approaching you. And you can't run because say you're out with your kid, or you're trying to get to your car, or you're trying to get to your apartment, and I am just out of the blue approaching you in the parking lot. How would you tell me to stay away?
Probably.
How about this? Can you hold it up right there, man? Can you stop right there for me? Just in that tone, right? Because I don't want to what? Escalate, right? When it's not necessary. So this is the subtleties of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu rolling verbal, right? This is verbal agility. So I want to have the ability to say to this guy, dude, can you just chill for a second? Can you hold it right there? Right? So what's that do? It sets a parameter, right? It establishes right there that I'm not comfortable with you getting all snuggly with me. Like I'm walking up to Mo and I'm like, hey, dude.
Hey, can you just stay right there? Perfect.
Now, was that confrontational? Was that like, motherfucker, who you telling to stay where? Right? Was that the kind of thing that would kind of force that out of me where, dude, I've been fronted and my boys are out here, we got to get it on now? No. That's a civilized way of saying, stop. I don't know you. You have no reason to be near me. Have you guys ever read Gavin de Becker's book, Gift of Fear? Yeah. Okay. Who has not read that book? All right, read it tonight. Yes, stop bullets. Gift of Fear by Gavin de Becker. Now, like many authors, I'm not going to agree with everything he says, but most of what he says is worth listening to. And one of the big things that he talks about is the importance of the word no. If Mo says no, and I continue, what's that mean? Out of respect, no. It means I have an agenda. That means I don't care what you say, I'm going to impose my will. And that's not always a good thing. Right? So here we go. So Mo's out, hanging out by his house. doing his thing. I come out of the blue, like, hey dude, can I talk to you? Come on, dude, can I just talk to you for a minute? What's next?
I want to hit you.
Yeah! What do you want, right? That's the instinct. The instinct is ping, you know, just make the chick, let's go flying, you know, making it rain teeth. But, so here's what we want to do though, is we want to take and interrupt this guy's pattern. Right? This guy's got his agenda. He's got his shit down. He knows what's going to happen. So what I would need to do is I need to go ahead and escalate a little bit. So how can we do that? Because there's a difference, right? There's a difference. If Mo says to me, motherfucker, you better stop. What's that?
That's a threat.
That's an insult, right? You just punked me. And, you know, there's a saying, you know, little kids will talk about it, like, it's better to be a ghetto superstar than a punk. And there's ways to be a ghetto superstar, which means you can be the guy known in that area for getting beat up, but going down hard. Like, dudes know if they fight that guy, they're going to get hurt. Like, he might not be a good fighter and he might not win fights, but nobody's going to fight him because he won't let anybody push him around. Then there's other dudes that they know they can push around. That's the dude they take a shit every time they see him. Right? So, if I'm one of those guys, and that's how I've been raised, and I just came out of the joint where if I allow you to come over and put your foot next to mine without permission, that's an insult, and that means tomorrow people are going to be taking my food, then it's much more significant, right? You need to understand the significance of those words. If you say something to somebody, you call them a name, you've opened the door. You can still de-escalate this, right? What would be our prime directive? Like, Chris talked about the 3 things for Jiu-jitsu, right? Which is get on top, stay on top, have a guard that can't be passed, and then all else fails, get back on top.
Yep.
Right? So our prime directives for this kind of stuff, though, is what? Avoidance, deterrence, and de-escalation. And I can, if I'm talking, if I keep them talking, I can de-escalate them. Okay? You got to have faith in your ability to be more mentally agile than that guy. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to say the same verbiage, but very loud. Like pissed loud. Like, dude, I'm serious. I'm going to punch you in the face. All right, so here we go. So I come up and I'm like, hey, Mo.
Can you stop right there? Can you stop right there?
There you go. That's a little better. Now, can we add something else to that? Right? What's the next step from there? What else can we add to that? Back up? Back the fuck up. Right? Because it just feels good to say, fuck! So, here's what's going to happen. I'm approaching, right? Hey, dude,
Can I
talk to you for a second?
Back the fuck up!
Man! So, that's the equivalent of a flashbang. He just pulled the pin, 1001, 1000, boom! Back the fuck up. What else does that do, though? Because a good predator picks prey, right, based on what he can get away with.
Soft target.
Right?
He knows he might fight back now.
Yeah,
It's not going to be
exactly. And he's loud, which does what? Attracts attention. I don't want attention. I'm a good predator. The reason I'm a lion and my offspring keep breeding and carrying on our gene, right, is because we've successfully always picked the sick and the infirm and the crippled water buffalo, not the water buffalo that's walking around all swollen shit like that. I've got a taste for lion. You know, that's the water buffalo you stay away from, because that dude's going to kill you. So same thing. The second I know that this guy's going to resist, the second I know he's going to fight back, I might change my plans. Okay? So here's what we're going to do. Stand up. Everybody gets to say, fuck! Fuck! All right, here's what I want you to do. So, here's what we're going to do. Just like I did with Mo. I want you guys to pair up, and we're going to do it for just a couple minutes back and forth. Very simple. I want you to just practice saying to people, stop right there. Can you hold up right there, man? That's all you got to say. Now here, we'll get into it in a minute, but I want you to do it with movement. Movement is important. Now here's what I would say to Mo. Mo's movement's good, but here's what I want you to do. I want you to circle off one of your bleeds. So if I'm standing on a clock, I want you to go for the 3 or the 6, right? Or the 9, I'm sorry. Dude, I'm not good at math. No, nobody said there'd be math involved. Okay, so that's what it's going to be. It's going to be 2 steps left, 2 steps right. Never back. Why? Why would he not want to go back?
Because you can't see that direction.
It's an unknown, right? My buddy could be over here. My buddy could be standing right here. I have a guy that went through this coursework with me about 4 weeks ago. And it's funny, he sends me a message on Facebook, because I'm a Facebook whore. He's like, hey dude, I saw exactly what you were talking about. I'm at the Stop and Rob, the Quickie Mart, and this one guy keeps riding his bike back and forth, right? And this other guy comes up to me randomly and starts talking to me. And then I look over and I see that the guy on the bike is watching the guy talking to me, and they're kind of looking back and forth at each other. I'm like, exactly. You're being set up, right? So that's the thing. You don't want to back up because you don't know what's behind you and you don't know who else is involved. So for right now, what's the best way to figure out who else is involved? Reset. So when I come up to you, I'm like, hey dude, let me talk to you for a minute. Let me talk. Dude, what are you just, what? You want to box? What are you doing to me, man? You're not telling me to stop. Right? So you got to talk to me. Because if you're just moving, I'm like, oh, bang. All right, so, okay. So here's what I want you to talk. So as I'm coming up, now you incorporate the footwork that you develop through boxing and jiu-jitsu and everything else, but you also incorporate the verbal, which is, you just stop right there. And then I need you to back the fuck up. Make sense? That's what we're going to do, okay? Nobody back up. Circle, circle while communicating. All right, so here we go. So I'm going to approach, right? Here you go. Hey, dude, what's that?
Right there, man?
Right there. Very simple footwork, right? What does that footwork look like? Is that boxing? Is that cutting the corner? That's what we do every day in the gym, right? So you've already got the footwork to handle a criminal assault, right? You already have the footwork to intercept a criminal assault. All we need now is to add the verbal. We need you to be able to talk, right? That's all we need. And does it have to be a complicated back and forth? No. It just needs to be a loop. Because in your mind, you still want to punch me, but in your mind, you're setting it up so that you can see who else is involved before you commit to action. Make sense? Because I'm not going to tell you not to punch somebody. Always punch somebody. But you got to just make sure there's who else is involved before you commit to that. Make sense? All right. And it also could end right there. As soon as you cycle off on me, there's your boy. My buddy's got you, man. You're on my team. You're on my team. Right? So the second he sectors off, boom, there it is. So as he sectors off, line me up with him, and we're good to go. Make sense? All right, let's do it.